Hey, Boaz here with Next Pittsburgh, and this week on Yinzer Backstage Pass, we're finding out what happens to our recycling. So we're at Recycle Source here at Hazelwood, and to explain to us what's happening, we have Amie here, who's a recycling specialist with the city of Pittsburgh. So already I'm completely overwhelmed.
Yes, it's a lot of material you see behind us. Yeah. Yeah.
And so all this is stuff that you picked up, I mean, not you specifically, but your team picked up from people's houses around Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so the city of Pittsburgh uses this recycling facility. It's a material recovery facility here in Hazelwood, and other municipalities use it as well, but a majority of what you're seeing might be coming from the city of Pittsburgh. Maybe you're a curbside pickup.
Wow. And so, what are we looking at? Can you, give me some numbers just to give a sense of it?
So we service around 100,000 households in the city of Pittsburgh, but generally we bring in around 5 tons per load when we come here to the recycling facility.
Every day?
Every day. Each truck. Somewhere between 3 to 5 tons. Sometimes, depending on the neighborhood, they might make 2 trips.
And how many trucks are there?
We have around 17 trucks in our fleet.
So right now we're looking at stuff that was just picked up earlier today. You see, the things going out in your bins. I see the ones on my street, but to see it all here in a pile. In fact, today is Annie's recycling day. So This might be some of Annie's cardboard boxes.
Yeah, we are actually working in Brighton Heights today, also Banksville and Beachview.
So if you live in any of those neighborhoods, look behind us. Those might be some of your cans or bottles. This is crazy. Try to spot your recycling. And so what are some of the mistakes that people make when they're putting things in those blue bins? Because I know glass. I see some glass right behind us over there. Is that something they're not supposed to put in there?
Well, actually, in the city of Pittsburgh, we do accept glass in the curbside container. I know some other municipalities surrounding us kind of halted that kind of service, but we still do accept it in the curbside.
Now, what about, you've got your plastic milk jug. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you do with the lid?
So right now, we're going lids off because, it helps. If anything else is in there, it drains out. But also, for example, a 2-liter container. Have you ever put the lid on and tried to compress it? It's just as hard for our trucks to do so. So we kind of just go with no lids.
So it got a lot louder over here.
It did.
And so now we're finding out sort of what happens to everything once the trucks have dumped it off.
Yes, they kind of pick it up with a claw machine and they drop it on a big conveyor belt and it ends up here. Okay,
and so someone else, you're gonna introduce us to your recycling pal.
Yes, this is John Hudak. He's the general manager at Recycle Source.
And so what are we seeing behind you right now?
Yeah, so this is the pre-sort to our system. The raw materials are fed up this conveyor belt. It's given to these gentlemen on this platform, and they're removing anything that could potentially shut the system down, anything that's not in the recycling spec. Tires, rigid plastics.
Okay, so now everything's still together. So how do we start separating things out?
Yeah, so there's different stages to the system. This is the first, and then it's then taken to our first set of screens. Because of the size, the cardboard and the larger items will slide over top of the shafts. Smaller fraction items like glass will slide through the gaps. It's taken to a glass breaker, which then crushes the glass.
It's just wild. This is just sort of a sampling of what Pittsburghers have been drinking over the last week. They've been drinking some Aquafina, some Polar. I see a Pop-Tarts box over there.
Right, it fluctuates by the season, right? You see a lot more water bottles in the summertime.
Okay, so it looks like we're in paper land right now.
That's right. So this is our first mixed paper line. The polishing screen is having the paper surf over. It falls here, so you have paper and cardboard mixed together.
And it looks like they're pulling out some plastic bags.
Again, yeah, they're removing any type of contamination that wasn't removed on the pre-sort system.
If it's pouring out, is all this stuff coming in soggy?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no roof over the recycling bin sometimes. We adjust the way we process. So we'll slow the system down to get better separation.
It's sort of beautiful. It looks like it's snowing over here with all this, paper sort of wafting down slowly.
Yeah, this is our finished paper. It's then taken to a baler where it makes about 1,500-pound bales.
Where do those bales end up? What are they used for?
Cereal boxes, tissue products, some of those brown inserts that you see in a shoebox or on the backside of a notebook.
And so for a long time, people were used to putting their recyclables in those blue plastic bags. Yeah. But not anymore.
Not anymore. We're making the shift away from blue plastic bags.
And obviously not everyone's gotten the plastic memo yet. As we see, there's a lot of plastic bags behind it.
True. And, when people are receiving their containers, we're spreading the message, no blue bags. A lot of people are still putting them in there because they want to keep their container clean. Keep it cleaner by, cleaning off your items, your peanut butter, emptying out those milk jugs so that your container does not end up dirty and you don't have to use bags.
Okay, I've never seen so many crushed, gallon milk jugs in my life.
Yeah, so this is HDPE natural. It's removed from the stream optically, so there's a computer that's able to identify that it's HDPE natural, and then an air valve fires on it, and it's removed from the stream.
What is that term you're saying? HDP natural?
Yeah, HDPE natural. It's a plastic grade, so what this is primarily reused in is a lot of recycled bottles.
Okay, so these are all sort of soda pop, water bottles, stuff like that.
Right, this is called PET. This is sold to a consumer who turns it into like textiles, carpets.
You can turn that into carpets?
Believe it or not, that's a big use of it.
Oh.
Yes.
And here you've got some of the cardboard baled up, and you're explaining that it goes on a train, which is right here. There's like a train track right next to the recycling facility.
We're fortunate to have a rail side with a good relationship with our short line rail. These are our finished product, our cardboard. It's baled into about 1,800-pound bales.
And then they'll turn it into like craft papery kind of stuff.
Like toilet paper products, brown paper towels.
And now this is like the Great Wall of cans. I mean, it's like crazy how many cans are here.
Yeah, so this is the UBC product that we have. It's a staging area waiting to be shipped out. Each bale weighs about 850 to 950 pounds.
And do you have any idea how many cans are in each one?
That's a great question. That's like those the games with how many M&Ms in the jar. That'd be a
Too
good.
hard to answer.
Too hard to count. That's for sure.
And so where would something like this end up?
Yeah. So again, this is sent to a consumer. They have a process where they remove the paint. It's then melted, and then it's taken and upcycled into UBC cans again.
So like a tin can get recycled and then become another tin can.
Yeah, so this is actually aluminum.
Aluminum.
Yeah, so aluminum cans are the most recyclable product that we have in the stream. They can be recycled an endless amount of times.
I mean, it just looks like you could sell these as works of art. They're sort of beautiful. They're so colorful. And so you call this whole facility the MRF?
Yeah, it's MRF, which stands for Material Recovery Facility.
Well, I couldn't think of a cuter name for this facility than MRF, so I think it's great.
Yeah, I really enjoy using the jargon that we do in this industry, but we always have to clarify for the consumer and also for our residents as well. Yeah.
And so how did you get into this business? What interested you about it?
I wanted to do more work locally. I recently moved here to Pittsburgh 10 years ago, and I'd worked with a local nonprofit that was doing work in Pennsylvania, but I saw that there was more that I could do locally for my community here in the city of Pittsburgh.
Gosh, well, thank you so much for the tour. This was so enlightening. Everybody remembers now not to use those blue plastic bags and to, not keep their caps on.
Yes, and if you have any other questions, feel free to call 311. If you have questions about your set out and when your day is, pgh.st is also a good resource for getting notifications of when your next service day is. Right now, we are doing every other week collection for recycling, so it's also a good source for remembering not setting out your recycling on the wrong week.
Gosh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Boaz. It's been a good time hanging out with you.